Good hump day, everyone. I won't dwell on that. Isn't this colorful? This is a colored version of the Hermetic Tree of Life. And I ran across this the other day because it was a special gift uh, back on November 11th, my father's birthday, 2003, from my old partner and good friend and dear departed friend, Christopher S. Hyatt, PhD. And they were generous enough in those days at New Falcon Press to print up a whole bunch of these for vendors and things like this. But anyway, we're going to talk about colors today, and we're going to talk about colors in relationship to Magick and tarot and all of that. I've posted a couple of charts that I've taken from the book Understanding Aleister Crowley's Thoth Tarot, where I talk about colors. And so I'm going to be reading from that section today. So if you are, we've been talking about tarot and things like that, and the fact that the Golden Dawn required each of their members to paint their own deck of tarot cards. And they were the people at BOTA, Builders of the Adytum, Paul Foster Case's order, did the same thing, only a little more kinder. They give everybody a blank set of cards like that, and over a 2-week period require them to systematically color them in. Now that may sound like a sort of a mindless, childlike thing to do, and that's only half right. It is mindless in so much as the mind just gets in the way at that level of education, and you just go straight through. You shoot it up straight through the cones and rods of your eyes. And in the same way that music is broken up into vibrations of sound, light is broken up into vibrations of color. And that can be applied directly to your other Kabbalistic fields of study. So if I can find this chapter, I think it's chapter 10, we'll talk about colors. Oh, incidentally, I posted on my Facebook page directly, it'd appear directly above this, I guess, or below this on my page, 2 charts. That chart of the attributes to the trumps, and this chart for the attributes of the small cards. And small card, lesser arcana. Are we ready? I don't need to wear the hat today, but it goes with the shirt. Chapter 10, Worlds of Color. Epigram from 1 John, chapter 1, verse 5. God is light. Now that we know a little bit about the Kabbalah, the previous chapters we're referring to, now that we know a little bit about the Kabbalah, the Hermetic Rose Cross, and the tree of life, and I cover all of that in the preceding chapters if you're not already intimately familiar with this book. We can discuss one of the most important aspects of the visual magic that makes the Thoth Tarot, that is the Thoth Tarot. One of the most striking features of the deck is Lady Harris's curious use of color. Although, in my opinion, all the cards are exotically beautiful, there are a few of them that I have a hard time looking at for any length of time without feeling a bit nauseous. Hey, I've been criticized, trolled, if you will, on the internet for showing arrogant disrespect to Crowley, saying that I thought some of the cards were nauseous. If I get nauseous looking at something, it's really hard to be untruthful about it, okay? And I think if they would have read anything more in the book, they would have not questioned my respect for Crowley. I'm sorry. I'm above that. No. I'm thin-skinned and small. Okay. Forget I ever said that. I love them all. Okay. So I'll repeat it. Although in my opinion the cards are exotically beautiful, there are a few of them that I have a hard time looking at for any length of time without feeling a bit nauseous. Okay, you tell me. Are you happy to see the... Still, it's beautiful, but... And I showing no disrespect. I think I'll start this one over today. Perhaps this was her intention. For cards such as the Seven of Cups, debauch, or the Nine of Swords, cruelty. But it's also obvious that her choice of colors was dictated by something other than aesthetics. That something other was the four-fold color scale developed by the adepts of the Golden Dawn. Imagine, if you will, that the consciousness of the Supreme Deity is pure light. A venerable universal concept, to be sure. Now imagine the divine light passing through a prism and diffusing on the other side into all the colors of the spectrum. This is one way Kabbalists and physicists visualize the process of creation. Pure light, divine consciousness, breaking up and slowing down to become units of energy, mind, and matter. The magic prism that does all this primal light shattering is none other than Yod-He Vav-He itself, who, true to its fourfold nature, divides the light into four vibratory frequencies that will eventually manifest as four scales of color. The king scale is the highest and represents the essence, the invisible foundation of color. With the queen scale, color actually manifests as the eye beholds it. Shades, primary and secondary colors, etc. The prince scale combines the color of the king and queen scales. And the princess scale represents the lowest, most mixed and polluted levels of the light. Now imagine four trees of life one for each of the 4 Kabbalistic worlds. The light of the king scale filters through and paints the 10 Sephiroth and 22 paths of the Tree of Life, representing that highest world, Atzilith. The light of the queen scale filters through and paints the Sephiroth and paths of the Tree of Life in the next lower world, Braya. The light of the prince scale filters through and paints the tree of Yetzirah, the next lower world. And finally, the light of the princess scale filters through and paints the tree of life of the lowest world, Asaya. At the end of the day, we have a total of 40 colors representing the aces and small cards, and 96 colors representing the trumps. Appendix B in the Book of Thoth itemizes these colors in 4 pages of well-organized charts. I refer to my versions, Table 4 and 5, which I just showed you, and which I posted on my Facebook page this morning. For the most part, these charts are arranged according to the Sefer Yetzirah's 32 Paths of Wisdom, key scale. Keys 1 through 10 refer to the 10 Sephiroth of the Tree of Life in the Tarot. These 10 are the ace and the 9 small cards of each suit. Keys 11 through 32 refer to the 22 paths of the Tree of Life that connect the Sephiroth. The 22 Hebrew letters are positioned on these paths. In the tarot, these are, of course, the 22 trumps. Tarot trumps are numbered 0 through 21. Do not confuse these numbers with the key numbers. Now, that we know that the Thoth Tarot is theoretically splashed with 136 colors, we might as well ask where these colors come from. The very specific names for many of them are unromantically lifted directly from the labels of tubes of Winsor and Newman watercolors. Designers Gouache series. I'll spell that for you. It's a series of colors from Winsor and Newton, which I believe are still in business and still selling these colors. It's the Designers, capital Gouache series, which were popular with Victorian artists and are still available from W&N today. But just who was it that assigned them to their particular Kabbalistic pigeonholes? The answer, like most other matters concerning the Thoth Tarot, is complex and open to some speculation. There's very little doubt that the 4 scales of colors issued as part of the Golden Dawn curriculum were ultimately set down by S.L. McGregor Mathers. It's also clear that he had help from others, including someone who was very knowledgeable in color theory. This was most likely his artist wife, Moinia. The Kabbalah, of course, was a major influence in the selection of colors. The mere fact that the degeneration of colors represents a fall down the 4 trees of life is proof that the king scale appears to be the result of a battle between the red of severity and the white of mercy, as outlined in the sections of the Zohar. In other scales, we see the elemental, planetary, and zodiacal colors familiar to us from the Sefer Yetzirah. But Kabbalah is not the only tradition Mathers and company drew upon for inspiration. Astrology and alchemy are also rich in color symbolism. and traditions that surely influenced many of the color selections. Perhaps most intriguing is the likelihood that some colors were selected as the result of magically induced visions. Scrying in the spirit vision and aura experiments were part and parcel of the Golden Dawn curriculum. The various rays and flecks found in the suit of discs are especially characteristic of such astral visions. I'd love to be able to tell you that Lady Harris simply chose the dominant colors for the individual cards directly from the appropriate box in the 4 scale charts, which is exactly what Constance and I did with the Tarot Ceremonial Magic. Okay. We are so lazy. But if we spend just a few minutes with the cards and charts, we see that this is not the case. If we look deeper, however, we discover that Harris does most certainly use the scale charts with the greatest skill and innovative genius. Take the 6 of Wands, for example. Now, this is the old kind of first edition, 70s edition Llewellyn, and the colors aren't the best in this first edition. It's just my sentimental favorite. But here's what we're talking about. If we look to the column representing Wands, or the Knight scale, or the King scale, in Table 5, refers to the key scale number 6. We find the color for the 6 of Wands should be clear pink rose. What? There is no or very little clear pink rose in the 6 of Wands. However, as a matter of fact, the background is violet and purple, and the wands themselves are greenish yellow outlined in reddish amber. Okay. The wands themselves, yes, there I said it. Okay. 2 of the wands on the cards are surmounted by a winged solar disk. Now we're getting to it. With bright blue feathers and blue uraeus serpents outlined in yellow. Where did these colors come from? In Chapter 14, I'll discuss how each of the 36 small cards represents one decan, period of 10 degrees of the zodiac. Each is also assigned a planet. 6 of Wands represents the planet Jupiter in the second decan of Leo. If we look at key scale number 19, Leo, in Table 4, we find the colors yellow, greenish, deep purple, gray, and reddish amber. If we look at key scale number 21, Jupiter, we find the colors violet, blue, rich purple, bright blue rayed with yellow. Now, when you get a really good color reproduction of this card, you'll see that that is pretty much a perfect match. Also pretty damn esoteric. Not all the cards are so easily analyzed. Instead of using colors separately as she does in the 6 of Discs, Harris often blends 2 or more colors that represent contending or inharmonious astrological or elemental aspects. This is more apparent in the higher number cards, which represent lower Sephiroth on the Tree of Life and therefore characterize more imbalanced and polluted forces. No matter how difficult it may be to work out the method of the color madness of each card of the Thoth Tarot, we can be relatively confident that Lady Harris was not careless or arbitrary in her selections. Her painstaking efforts to express in colors the complex and wonderful forces of the universe resulted in the creation of a unique and powerful meditative tool. Each time we work with the cards, each time we lay them out and allow our eyes to drink in their interwoven and interconnected colors, we silently activate those same connective webs of universal influences within ourselves. That's my really kind of brief chapter, The World of Colors. And we're talking about the Thoth Tarot there. But I made mention that for the Tarot of Ceremonial Magic, which the brand new edition with special bonus treats is coming out, is being printed up right now. I'm going to show, first of all, in the 22 trumps. Of course, those colors are dominant. See the blue in the tent, and the red in the Hierophant's robe, and things like that. But just to make sure that we're sort of on our own page, I've got the king scale and the queen scale of colors backing up this little box in the very center of each of the cards. So that's the king scale and the queen scale of the path of Lamed. Okay. And the other cards do this, are dominated by the same king scale, queen scale, and then secondarily the prince and princess scale. Now, when I was preparing to drive from Southern California to Miami, Florida, to attend the Book Expo America, or the American Booksellers Association, it was called in those days, to pitch my Tarot of Ceremonial Magic, or our Tarot of Ceremonial Magic. All I had was the line drawings of these cards. I had made line drawings because I did everything on the office copy machine while the boss was away. So I didn't have a color deck to, I just had an oversized 4x6 cards or something that the images were on. Everything was there, but the color wasn't there. I gave Constance the equivalent of those two charts that I just showed you here, and that's in chapter 10 here. And I said, these are the colors for each of the cards. Use these colors. Don't use any other colors. The king scale and the queen scale are dominant. And my friend Rick and I are driving to Miami in, I forget how, a week or something like that. I said, can you color these 78 cards? Can you paint these 78 cards in that amount of time? And she said, sure. And that's what she did. And it was that color version of the cards that I took to Miami and showed to the BOTA folks. Anyway, or the U.S. Games folks, excuse me. Anyway, that's it for today. I was going to do this yesterday, but I decided I would do that other thing yesterday in the parking lot. It's going to be a sweltering day again today. But Constance and I do the best we can to keep the house as livably cool as possible. We do have central air conditioning here if we would choose to turn it on. But both of us, but Constance more than I, are very, very, very sensitive to air-conditioned air. And the house has an upstairs that we foolishly never use, and our electric bill would be higher than the rent should we choose to do that. There may come a time when we'll install different filters and things like that and be forced to do that, but right now we're not. So if you you know, think, well, why don't they just turn on the AC? Well, number one, it's quite frankly, we can't afford to turn on the AC. And secondly, we'll be sneezing, coughing, and having to deal with medical bills if we do. So that's, or possibly, who knows? But with the pandemic and everything else, we don't want to be screwing with our respiratory systems. And I'm sure that's more information than you need to know. So forget it. Until tomorrow, continue to be good to yourself and be good to each other. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law. Love under will.